morning. It's Sunday, April 3rd, and the United States has announced that they will accept 100,000 Ukrainians to live in this country, to escape from the horrors that are going on overseas. And these Ukrainians have started to show up, and they are on the border between Mexico and the United States. Some are in hotels and some are in motels, but many are not. They are camped out at some bus site with very little water, getting sick, and nobody can seem to get their act together and get these people into the country. So what are we doing? Why don't we have a team of people, a bus, to go down and pick them up? We've invited them. No, they're on the border, not with any food, not with any water, not with any place to stay, but at the bus stop, lying on the ground. Some invitation, right? Blows your mind, this kind of invitation. Yes, we want to do good, but we haven't prepared. We haven't figured out how to do things. We just make a statement and go ahead and expect it to happen. And that's not what it is. And beside that, we've already got all these other immigrants trying to get in and seek asylum at that border. So this looks like, to the rest of the world perhaps, that it's actually a discriminatory thing. We'll take the Ukrainians, but we won't take the Mexicans and the Latin Americans. Does that look good? Not really. Not really. So in any event, we've invited them to come, and they're stuck at the border. And we're only allowing 100 a day to get into the country. So we've got over 1,000 people at the border stuck, and we're only letting 100 a day come in, and they keep coming. And then we've got a group of Ukrainian Americans who went over there and are wearing neon vests and are collecting the names of all of these Ukrainians. And they speak the language, they speak Russian or Ukrainian, and they are helping because they're gathering information about those that are stuck at the border. And they're making sure that these people are taken care of, or they're trying to do that. But if you get your name on the list, you will probably get into the country within a day, as it turns out. But it's a small group of volunteers. It's not a large group of volunteers. And so they are collecting all this information. And it turns out that about 40% of the people who are stuck at the border are children. They're children. So we've got to do something better. We've got to figure this out. Maybe we've got to just send some trailers over there for them to live in or something. It's a shame to have these people invited and have them stuck at the border. And maybe we should have told them to go to Canada. Maybe we could have arranged something with the Canadians and said, look, we're going to take these people. We're going to tell them to fly to Toronto or some other city that's near the American border, the northern border, which is relatively inactive compared to what's going on at the border of Mexico. But would anybody think about that? No, nobody's thinking. They just invite them. Come and see if you can get into the country. Hang out at the border for a couple of weeks maybe. No food, no water, freezing, blankets, lying on blankets, sleeping in the street. You got some folding chairs that somebody dropped off there or something. And we're only going to accept 100,000. 100,000 is bupkis when you got almost 4 million people, I think, ran away from the Ukraine. So this is the biggest refugee crisis in Europe since World War II. We've only agreed to take 100,000. We should take more than 100,000. But of course that would have upset a lot of people in this country. So the bottom line on this thing is that we have to do better. We have to plan better. We have to know exactly what we're supposed to be doing in all phases of this operation. But that's not what's happening. We're reacting quickly, and maybe we got to react quickly, but we also have to plan quickly then. Okay? So while the Ukrainians are being rushed into the country, so to speak, rushed is about as fast as they can go, but it's not very fast. So while this is happening, the border agents have told the Russians, the Mexicans, the Central Americans, and other migrants to stay put, because the pandemic-era border expulsion policy known as Title 42 to most of the asylum seekers. But on Friday, the Biden administration announced that it will end the expulsion policy in late May. So they're really telling people, stay put. It's only 6 or 8 weeks before we're going to open this border up again. Is that something that people sitting at the border want to hear? Even though there's no longer any reason to attempt to protect our public health, we're going to have them sitting out at the border for another 6 or 8 or 10 weeks. So there's many people there at the border. They're stuck. And there are people there who are trying to help them that came from the Ukraine. So, I'm very upset about how long it takes things to get done in this democracy, and I've been on this case for a while because of the J6. But here's something that went ahead very quickly, and we didn't do a good job of it. So I guess waiting and trying to do it right is the way to do it. But somehow or other, we have to have people who think better and think faster. We can't afford to waste a lot of the time that we are wasting. But if you look at this situation, which is uncontrollable, basically, it's an uncontrollable situation because people want to come into this country and we can't get them in fast enough. And I don't know how many years we have been working on our immigration system, but nothing seems to be happening. It's a disaster. It's a disaster that we can't come up with some formula, some methodology that allows people to come in, get here, and stay here, or get rejected and sent away. Now, you can't stop them, I guess, from hanging out and hoping for the best. But we have to have some methodology to tell people, look, you are gonna not get into this country and go find another place because we are never going to admit you to this country. But we don't want to say anything like that, I guess. I don't know. Anyhow, it's another situation that we have. I don't want to call it messed up. I'm not sure we really messed up. I think we just run ahead, try to do good, and it doesn't work out that way all the time. For a lot of reasons, and many of them are beyond our control, perhaps. But we don't have enough staff. Maybe that's the answer. Maybe immigration is short-staffed. But then that's a problem in Congress and the budget and everything else. So the people who went down there and are volunteering, that's on their own time, and they're not costing us anything, except maybe we got to feed them or something. I don't know. Anyhow, it's another disaster that's going on in this country. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.